Heads of judiciaries, court presidents and delegates of the G20 group of nations will gather today in Johannesburg to discuss matters relating to the pillars of justice and an evolving global landscape. In fact, Chief Justice Mandisa Maya is set to give the keynote address when the J20 summit kicks off this morning. Let's take you there live with Newzroom Afrika senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngobo. Ziyanda, of course, this gathering also comes ahead of the G20 leaders meeting, which we are still building up to in November.
Absolutely, and this is the fifth kind of gathering that's taking place. The first one taking place in 2018 in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and there are lots of issues that can be discussed here. In fact, on the program, they'll be dealing with climate change, an evolving global landscape, but also the impact of technology on administering justice. And I'm going to bring in someone who is the second in command in our judiciary, the Deputy Chief Justice Dunstan Mlambo, to talk about this, because there's issues of how artificial intelligence is being used by lawyers to actually write, their papers, but also in general across the globe there is a fundamental crisis when it comes to protecting the independence of judiciaries, in particular from the politicians.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and good morning to you and your listeners. Indeed, one of the three pillars of our theme, independence, is a topical issue, as you said. We are going to be engaged in a robust discussion about how our independence as a judiciary can be promoted and enhanced, but not at the expense of us doing what we are meant to be doing as judges, dispensing justice. And the other one, as you've mentioned, is innovation. We live in a technological world. It's here, it's real. We've implemented court online case lines in this country, and it showed during COVID that it's an enabler and it enhances access to justice in more ways than we've seen before. And then, as you say, climate justice, cybercrime, it's part of the discussion that we're going to be having, which looks at how collaborative efforts can be enhanced to make sure that we deal with borderless issues and get out of this box of simply doing things based on our own domestic arrangement. So this summit provides us with that opportunity of discussing these issues, AI in particular, how we can use it as a tool, not to replace us, but as a tool to assist us become a lot more efficient in all our facets.
I mean, you've already intimated on it, how to work together with other judiciaries to maintain the rule of law, which studies have found has actually declined over the years, and also the public's trust in the independence of the judiciary. What are some of the threats that you as South Africa have identified as the hosts of the summit that you'd want to put on the table? In particular, you can talk about Donald Trump attacking institutions like the International Court of Justice and International Criminal Court, protecting yourselves against the politicians as well, who are increasingly becoming vocal and attacking the judiciary.
Fortunately, in this country, and that touches on independence, in this country we have a very healthy relationship with the other arms of government, where we see incidents of this nature. We are able to call a gathering and discuss and call each other to order to make sure that we stay in our respective lanes. Indeed, geopolitically, we can see what's happening out there, but in this country, we jealously guard our space as an independent judiciary, and our Chief Justice has taken over from the work done by Chief Justice Zondo, in particular, in pushing us to total independence, getting out of the executive pocket altogether and running our own affairs. We think that's going to be very important in engendering confidence in the public that we are truly independent, we are not dictated to by the executive. I mean, one other threat that I think is real, we've recognized in the judiciary, is that access to justice, access to courts remains a big challenge in this country. We hope to collaborate with local stakeholders who are involved at grassroots level as to how they can link and network with organizations that can enable ordinary people who don't have means to initiate cases that will give them the confidence that the Constitution is real and they can rely on it to resolve their issues.
Still linked to the theme of independence is also about the funding of the courts, which is something that our judiciary has tried to, resolve, and you're starting to move away from being within the ambit of the Justice Department. Are there examples from other countries that maybe our countries looking at emulating or maybe taking a bit here and there from a few countries and making it uniquely South African?
You know, when we have countries like Singapore who are ably resourced from a technological point of view by their governments, we want to learn how they've ensured that the executive understands how that can be done. But an issue I can mention now is, the issue of austerity measures, budget cuts. They always affect us, yet our spending has always been above board. And our view has always been that we should be exempt as the judiciary from these austerity measures because they affect our service offering. And I think we will talk to some of the other countries. We'll hear how they deal with this. I mean, the Russian Republic, they are very well resourced from a technological point of view. They will tell us how we can go about doing it because that's the way to go these days. Technology, AI, but control it, make sure it remains a tool, it doesn't take over from us, we just use it as a tool.
And probably, hopefully, no plagiarizing. We know sometimes the dangers of artificial intelligence. That's Deputy Chief Justice Dunstan Mlambo speaking about, in the independence of the judiciary, innovation like AI, as we've mentioned, the funding of the courts, but a concern remaining about access to justice by ordinary South Africans. It's not a new conversation, but at least now the discussion will be broadened with peers from across the world. Michelle?
Sianda Ngobo, live to us there in Sandton ahead of that.